The biggest hurdle, what was the biggest hurdle coming here without the infrastructure there؟ يعني مثلًا uh, usually لحد الآن أنا أشوف رغم يعني هسه حاليًا صارت أكثر ال الcreative agencies من قبل، بس still يعني there is تحسين أكو something missing. I don't know what is it exactly. يعني هو دائمًا إنه بالdesign يعني دا أحس هويتنا إحنا يا دا ناخذ فد شي من برا ودا نسوي له يعني مو merge بس دا نطبقه هنا على ألواننا، يا دا ناخذ فد pattern وهم دا نطبق عليه إنه it's already، بس كلش قليل دا نشوف إحنا خلينا نقول الإبداع اللي هو كلش خلينا نقول in a national way، يعني إنه هو الإبداع وطني أو هوية أو حضارة أو أي شيء، ما تطلع هواية، وإذا تطلع أفكار هي شلون نقول copy pasted. I want to know يعني was that a challenge to come here لأنه we don't have much reinventing the wheel ideas.
I think the reason for that, honestly, as a creative and as a someone who's worked in education, إنه ما عنا حاليا design program or يعني so University of Sharjah, American University of Sharjah, American University of Cairo, American University of Beirut كلهم عندهم top tier design programs. Like يطلع منهم the best typographers, visual artists, da 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 da. إحنا ما عنا لحد الآن. And I was trying so hard to get in touch with the American University of Iraq, Baghdad, American International University of Baghdad, um, to see if they wanted to open up a qism يعني for graphic design. Once you have, so academia is basically the like little bubble where students can play and create the things that explore these themes of identity, of reinventing the wheel, or perhaps reinventing something new, archiving, going through our magazines from the 60s and 70s, typography, khat. Iraq is crazy good in khat. And we actually have really amazing, you know, calligraphers, and they're doing really great work. Where is it being housed? Where is it being seen? You know, on a gallery, اسمها the gallery هنا, they do great exhibitions. I wish there would be more exhibitions of like creatives and their work. And the academic part, I think, is the missing piece. And of course, here الحكومة همينة, الحكومة has to make initiatives and has to subsidize and has to help. It's so like it's government and education are the two pieces missing. And the reason why it's so is because it's commercial mainly. Everybody's working for a profit. So when you're working against a deadline for a client, it's really rare you're going to have somebody come up with like a brilliant idea. And that's absolutely part of the game, right? But academia helps create that, like, you know, safe space where you have to create a project or a thesis, or there's these really cool ideas, and that's only in the safe space of when you're learning. And I think that if we had that, then it would be very easy for Iraq all of a sudden to showcase a هوية بصرية immediately, because we've provided that kind of like safe space for that to develop and grow.
هي هاي واحدة من أسباب يعني مشاكل البنى التحتية، يعني إحنا ما عندنا بنية تحتية للمبدعين، سواء بالأكاديمية، بالعالم الأكاديمي، بالجامعات، أو باستثمار الدولة إنه تستثمر، سواء بالجامعات الخاصة إذا هو من المستثمرين أو من الجامعات الحكومية، إنه الدولة تبدي تروج، لأنه ما عندنا، ما أعرف أنا، هذا قد يكون رأيي الشخصي، ما عندنا مفهوم واضح للهوية، فما عندنا اهتمام بالهويات مالتنا أو الهويات البصرية مالتنا، لأنه ماكو اتفاق، ومو ضروري إنه يكون أكو هوية شمولية تشمل العراق كله، بس ماكو اتفاق على إنه يكون عندنا هويات جامعة، ما أحس أكو عندنا شغف إنه للأرشفة. ذكرتي الأرشفة، جزء كبير من تاريخ العراق ضاع، سواء أيام الحرب لمن صارت يعني السرقة والنهب، سواء بدائرة الإذاعة والتلفزيون اللي كان بها أرشيف مهم جدا، أرشيفنا الثقافي، سواء بالمتحف، السرقة والنهب اللي صار به. فأحس إنه أكو أزمة هوية. هسه الجيل الجديد دا يحاول يرجع يجمعها، الجيل الشباب دا يحاول يرجع يجمع، دا يحاول يرجع يخلق، هاي الهوية الجديدة، تحسين إنه عندنا بالعراق جزء من أزمة البنى التحتية، إنه إحنا ما عندنا فهم واضح للهوية أو لأهمية إنه يكون عندنا هوية بصرية؟
The answer is yes, but it's not because ما عنا إشي. I think we have too much. Well, I think ما عنا a reason or a place to use it لحد الآن. وراح أعطيكم just a very يعني everything you said makes a lot of sense. How do we make it even more واضح? Like when you go to a place like New York, they know that the whole world is coming to visit. So they spend money to make sure when people come visit, we want you to focus on these things. The yellow taxi, New York, nickname مالتها the Big Apple, and the I Heart New York sign, which now is used everywhere in the world. Those are all things that were paid.
المترو ال1 ABC 1 2 3
So
مترو الABC مترو.
that was designed by Massimo Vignelli. They hired a graphic designer and his team to design that subway system, designed in Helvetica at the time. It was systemized. So like one of the things designers do really well is systemization. And this is what you're talking about, right? This kind of like systemization, this ability. And I have to write a thesis about this, but I think the sign of a great civilization is its ability to systemize. So if you go to Turkey, for example, you go to Istanbul, whatever, you can tell that you're in Turkey from like their signs and their street signs and how they preserve their history. And there was the Ottoman Empire at one point, right? The British Empire, their way of systemizing. And it is the strength. I mean, this is controversial what I'm saying, but it's the strength of a civilization, because to systemize means you understand how big and how far your civilization expands to. And I don't think that we're there yet, and nor do we have كالعراق ما عنا a reason why. مثلا the World Cup when it was the FIFA Cup, the cup when it was in Basra, all of a sudden
كأس
Basra
الخليج.
yeah, Kes Khalij. All of a sudden, they hired Wissam Shaukat. Now they had a logo. All of a sudden, they upped their thing. All of a sudden, Basra had a Hawiyya Basriya very quickly. Yes, they had a reason for it. You know, قمة العرب, I think, was in Baghdad this past thing. Baghdad could have used that to do something, but it felt like Baghdad was rushing to make everything pretty, like a shawara basic thing, like malahgo isoun, like that would have been the perfect time to really develop like a city Hawiyya Basariya for like the Qimma al-Arabiya that was coming. So there was like pictures of like Lamasus everywhere. There was like the gates of Babylon, which I don't have a problem with, but they're so used to death, it's either that or like a nakhla. So like there has to be different things. But it takes time to do that. You need to hire the right people. You can't just, do design out of thin air. Thin air, doesn't work. So yes, Iraq struggling, not because it doesn't have, it has so much, but it just needs a, like a tijah or like a reason. My humble opinion.
يعني أنت شايف من كنا نسوي التصميم اللوجو مالت البودكاست، من حكينا ويا المصممة قلت لها أريد شيء يظل مستوحى، يعني كتابة عربية قلت لها بس ما أريد مثلا نخلة. لأنه إنه أحسه مثل تصميم كسول، ليزي ديزاين، إنه أنا أحط نخلة، أحط لماسو، خلاص أنت طلعت العراق، لأنه حتى ماكو تريد شورت كات أو اختصار اللي حتى الناس تعرف إنه أنت بالعراق أو أنت ببغداد. بس هاي مشكلة إنه السرعة، وإنه أنا أريد شيء سريع بسيط، كسول. ما إله بالنسبة لي ما إله مسمى ثاني غير إنه هو تصميم كسول، لأنه هواية أكو جوانب من هويتنا، ومو ضروري إحنا نرجع بس للنخلة أو اللماس، مع إنه أنا مع كل احترامي أنا أحب النخلة وأحب إنه بكل أكثر بيوتنا ببغداد بيها نخل وأحب اللماس، بس إحنا حتى تاريخنا الحديث هو جزء من هويتنا البصرية، سواء الباصات، التاكسي، الثمانينات، الشخاطة هي جزء، الشخاطة اللي كنا نستخدمها كل العراقيين، الفانوس، يعني بها هواية، عندنا هواية أجزاء من الشكل، من الشكل البغدادي أو الشكل العراقي، شناشيل بغداد هي جزء من هويتنا البصرية، ممكن تستخدم وتدل بشكل جدا مميز على هويتنا، على هويتنا الثقافية أو على هويتنا اللي هي هوية بصرية. ممكن إحنا نشوفها ونقول إنه إحنا ببغداد أو إحنا بالعراق. واحدة من الشغلات اللي أنا وأحمد هم هواية نحكي بيها لما واحد يبدي مشروع يحتاج هواية انضباط discipline. لما بديتي مشروعك وقلتي أنا بدي أسوي استوديو، وين كنتِ تلقين الdiscipline إنه تكملين، إنه تضلين تستمرين، رغم كل التحديات إن الواحد يبدي مشروع بالعراق أو يبدي مشروع يعني startup أو مشروع اللي هو بالبداية مشروع يتطلب هواية جهد. منين جبتِ الانضباط؟ وهل يومًا ما حسيتِ إنه أنا أستسلم أو أريد أوقف بنص الطريق؟
Yeah, so Monday through Friday, I want to استسلم. And then Saturday, Sunday, uh, أرتاح شوية، أشرب شوية مي وأرجع. It's an idea in my head that one day the studio will contribute something culturally significant to هويتنا كعراقيين، كعرب، كمسلمين. But the path is long. It's filled with failures, a lot of money lost, a lot of money spent, a lot of يعني disappointments and a few good days. ما عندي discipline غير توكل that يعني one day it will change, it will be better. But every creative that I speak to is struggling the same way. يعني كلنا عندنا like nice things that we created, and we'll tell you how we almost lost all of our hair trying to make it. هي حلوة at the end of the day sitting on your thing. And but يعني the creative life is not an easy one. I think people عبالهم احنا بس نقعد all day waiting for إلهام, playing with our colors.
نفسه.
Yeah, نفس
بالأول.
بس بالحقيقة it's more listening to our clients, understanding deadlines, understanding financial pressures, keeping the lights open one day, not being able to pay rent another day, fighting with the client, يعني things going to shit, going to print. So it's absolute chaos. And then you make something beautiful and you're like, oh, alhamdulillah. Yalla, and then you have the like delusion that the next project is not going to be as bad, but it is always worse. So I أشكرك إنه thinking that we have discipline. But
بحسب المشاريع اللي شفناها من كنا نسوي ريسيرش، مشاريع رائعة. الشغل اللي مشتغلين الشغل كلش حلو، فأكيد
thank you.
يتطلب discipline. يعني
يعني
مستحيل يمر هيك شي بشكل فوضوي.
Thank you. Yes, maybe that's the discipline of just يعني doing hard work, or just knowing that maybe it is the discipline of being an artist, knowing that يعني that there are layers and stages and steps and you have to keep going. Manta, we don't. The funniest thing is when somebody comes to me and sees something very simple that we created, and they're like, "Oh, how long did that take you?" Like a few days. And we're like, "Oh, that took us 6 months to get to this." ونقول لهم يعني
It's a slap
يعني
on the face.
yeah, we'll research, we'll hire. Oh, the colors are cute. We did like, a lot of matrices, and we have a lot of like tools, and we do a lot of data research. And يعني the amount of work and thought that's put into our work sometimes is what puts us in debt أصلا. مرات project ما تحتاج بس احنا هالقد ما we care. مرات we put in too much effort and time. والحلو بيها إنه it comes out looking really simple. سوينا هوية بصرية for co-working space for women. It never got to be open, but يعني the idea was really cool. إنه it was supposed to be open in Najaf, co-working space for women, and we had this whole idea, to make it about becoming, from the idea إنه الجذر زهرة, يعني to blossom, to become. لأنه هي المرأة هي she's the center of society. فلما هي تسهر أو يعني she blossoms, everything around her will change. So this was the concept strategically of the studio space. So in AHA, in a way, we didn't want it to be like, you know, the NGO. You're brave. You got this. Good job. ردنا المرأة
بدنا
العربية.
نعرفهم احنا
كنا هناك
Yeah,
قلنا نفس الشيء.
it's so much. ردنا مكان she would feel comfortable in. So we started to do research in music videos, like Iraqi music videos, and like what we looked at was like the comments in the Iraqi music videos to see how women would talk to each other. So شفنا that women would like be like أحبك تحفة أيش قد حلوة and like يعني we took those comments and we put them on like the bags, and it's in the space. The space was اسمه Zahara, well in English, but yeah, Zahara. And on the bags it's like أحبك, and it's like, I don't know if you saw it on the website, but أحبك, and then the cha is like هاي لما نجرجر بالحكي, and the كلها بالعربي, and it's in this really cool font that we bought with money. Okay, so we buy all of our fonts. It's this really cool font called Lipstick. So all of it looks like it's handwritten in lipstick, and then we custom made illustrations for images that would show up in our life. So it's like hail or a pomegranate, and then عيون and خشم, like مالتنا مو like خشم هذا الكيوت, هذا خشم ماتي. We did them, and we like damaged the images so that it looks like abstract pattern, but it would be like, so we spent so much time on this هوية, but this هوية, because it was for النسوان من نجف أو البنات من نجف to go and learn and explore يكتشفون على أرواحهم, and like to learn and to get, like, we had so much fun doing that project. So that's an example.
حكيتي على المكان اللي صممتوه اللي هو أو الهوية البصرية اللي صممتوها لمكان العمل المشترك للنساء بالنجف، وتذكرت التاج لاين أو الشعار اللي محطوط على الويب سايت مع استوديو يا خديجة، حبيبتي let's get your shit together.
Yeah.
احكي لي شوية على هذا اللاين.
Oh, that's gonna change soon. But who was I working with? I was working with an intern, and I think she said, "Oh, your studio helps people get their shit together." لأن احنا more than designing, we basically organize your thoughts for you, find the connecting visuals, and then we organize them back that you can use it in a consistent way. Systemization is one of our priority things as designers. If it's not systemized, it's not designed well. But so yeah, we say that we help you get your shit together, and usually our coolest clients come to us and they're like, "Oh, we love that line." They'll usually be like a really cool, successful woman that needs to like brand, you know, her restaurant, or one that needs to rebuild her website or something. And she's like, "Please come take care of this for me." And that's what we do. No, that has gotten us into trouble before. Yeah, I know there's some people that are like, "Why would you say something like this? It's not professional." And I said, "Come here. I've been working for 20 years of my life. I know what's professional. I know what's not professional. And I think if I know I want to use a line, I'll use it. It's okay."
اسم الاستوديو خديجة، شلون هو أكيد طبعا اسمك، بس شلون فكرتي إنه يكون اسم الاستوديو على اسمك؟
Oh, لأنه اسمي I think أثر بهويتي, I think. So like أنا basically خديجة, اسمي خديجة, based off of my great-grandmother, I think, on my father's side, but also زوجة النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. Before she was زوجة النبي, she was a business owner. She's really good at what she did, and this never left my mind. My God, cat. Hi,
We have a
cat.
guest.
Hi, cat. Oh my God, cat break.
نظيفة بالاستوديو.
It's a girl cat.
It's a boy
Hi.
cat.
Oh, I'm sorry,
His
boy
name
cat.
is Tahom.
Oh, Tahumi.
Charcoaled.
Oh, that's so cute. That's exactly what I
He
needed.
was sleeping and he came in here. He's like, well, why everything changed?
Excuse me, I've interrupted my beauty sleep. I'm so sorry, Tahum. Yes. Yes, so that بقت وياي ملي كنت صغيرة I wanted to be a businesswoman. لأنه حسيت إنه I love how cats still rule the world from ancient Egyptian times to now. Whenever there's a cat, everything stops. So basically, I was fascinated by this fact, ملي كنت صغيرة, up until now. And so when I was naming my studio, and like in any time you work with a brand designer, they'll ask you, who's your target audience? Who do you want to work with? And I'm always like, I want to work with female entrepreneurs. Not that men are bad, love men. But I think it's harder for females to find somebody that they trust, that they see in themselves to work with sometimes. We've worked with some fabulous male clients as well. So get it, okay, Khadija, الاسم Khadija, not because it's me, because the name in and of itself is a female business owner. So like that makes sense. And then I wanted, this is not creative at all. This is really just capitalism at its finest. I needed to find a .com name. Yeah, yes. But it landed me in a bit of a mess. Khadija's already long, and Khadija.com exists, but like I'm not buying it for like thousands of dollars. So I needed like just a bit to make it mumayyiz. And I remember for days like brainstorming ideas, and all of a sudden it came to me like, yeah is basically how you call somebody's attention. And like I was like, oh, branding is all about attention. Yeah, Khadija, okay, works. Yeah, Khadija.com. Yeah, Khadija.com was available on all platforms. So like also worked great for me. Like Instagram handle, YouTube.com, whatever. It was like $2. It was perfect, right? Then after I launched that rebranding, somebody came to me and was like, are you doing Ya Khadija like Ya Hussein? And I was like, yeah, I was like, oh my God, no. But I was like, oh, my red branding, my Ya Khadija. I was like, oh, I didn't see this. This is problematic. But I was like, problematic, good way? I don't mind it. So that's how Ya Khadija came. And now we're doing another rebrand, which is basically we're just figuring out really who we are. And we're focusing on bilingual branding. Yani for us, and bilingual branding for today's Khadijas, which like it's a great way. I feel like all Arab women or Muslim women know what what Khadija stands for, like a female business owner. Not to reduce it to that. Fantastic character, story, sira, of course, but I think it just works so well. For
لا وهي طبعا شخصية استراتيجية يعني السيدة خديجة غير أنه هي امرأة أعمال وعندها نظرة استراتيجية لما تزوجت زوجة نبي ف ف فالشيء فهي كشخصية متكاملة. حكينا شوية عن المرأة. أحس المشاريع اللي تكون بقيادة امرأة أو المشاريع الطالعة من النساء بمجتمعنا بها جوانب خلاقة أو مبدعة أكثر من الشيء التقليدي اللي إحنا نشوفه من رواد الأعمال الرجال. هل هذا الشيء تعتقديه بسبب حاجة المرأة لأنه تكون مبدعة بكل تفاصيل حياتها؟ هي خلاقة أو الكرياتيفيتي بكل المجال، لأنه هي مجرد يعني شلون يقولون البقاء أو الsurvivalism مالت المرأة هو خلاق، لأنه ما بين المجتمع والرجل والعائلة وضغوط المجتمع وضغوط الرجل والstereotyping اللي يصير على المرأة، فدائما عندها هواية فلتر أو عندها هواية تحديات لازم تخوض بيها حتى توصل بشكل مو مثل الرجل المجتمع مسهل له هواية أمور، يقطع هواية أمور بشكل كلش سريع وسهل. المرأة لأ، لازم تفوت بهواية فلتر وتفاصيل وتحديات إحنا ما نواجهها. آمم تعتقدين هذا يخلّيها مبدعة أكثر أو عقلها يشتغل بشكل إبداعي أكثر، إنه هي بكل لحظة هي تحاول تبدع حتى تبقى، حتى تستمر، حتى يكون لها اسم؟
والله شوف I've changed my I think what you're saying there's a truth to it, but I believe that it doesn't really matter if you're a woman or a man. It's how close you are to your emotional sensitivity that leads you
اهم،
to become creatively. And we've worked with really creative men, really cool projects, and it's really the like you were talking about this, right? For men it's much easier, but I think for men it's much harder to express emotions, خاصة in the world that we live in now. يعني people expect women to be emotional, and for me design is very emotional. People think that there's a big difference between logic and emotion, but I think logic and emotion are very, very close together. Emotion is not anything bad at all. It's how we understand the world, it's how we feel, it's how we subconsciously read things. So I think كنساء we're closer to that and we're allowed to be that part of us, which men also have, but they're not allowed. This sensitivity. And I think that خاصة what we do in our studios, we have our logic and our business caps also on. Then I would say that that's hard for people to accept us in this nahia because they want us, it's like, it's what society does to you. It's like what society wants to see you. It's like, oh no, I want you to be emotional. And then let me just speak to a rajal for my logical decisions. But in reality, you have both. And it only experience that is the good and so I can put on my business logic and walk you through the analytics of why this strategy works with the emotional strategic value of how I'm going to show you how we do this visually. And I do them both well. But it depends on my مقابلي, how they're going to accept what I say. مرات they don't like that I'm saying analytics and, the logical stuff. No. Maybe your numbers are wrong. Maybe, no, Habibi, I know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah. I think it's the environment because there are many
It's the
men that
environment أكيد مجتمع.
yeah, المجتمع. And there are many men that are connected to themselves emotionally that I have really excellent conversations with where we can go in this like direction. It doesn't feel weird or they're like, no. They'll go with you. They'll understand. They'll take you. They feel vulnerable enough to do that. And I think women are just allowed to do this more. And we have it in us more, a little bit more. I mean,
أعتقد إذا أكو شيء الرجل يحتاج يتعلمه هسه من المرأة هو إنه يكون متصل ويا مشاعره. نحتاج رجال عندهم عاطفة أكثر، مشاعر أكثر، يمكن نكون أقل قسوة، يكون
so
مجتمعنا يكون أقل قسوة.
I will absolutely, and I will give you an example of what this means. ما أريد أحكي على emotions and logic without giving
أها،
you examples in business. So I'm not talking about like mad or sad, just teachy out of nothing. When we're designing an app, I've sat with like a CEO. I have like these horror stories. The CEO that wants to create an app like Uber Eats. So he calls me in for a meeting and he's like, I want to design this app and I want to make it exactly like Uber Eats and whatever. I was like, okay. So how much is it going to cost me? I said, before we talk about costs, can I ask you, what do you want to make it different? Yani,
اهم.
no, make it exactly the same. This is where emotion and logic come in. This is where emotion is أني دا أتعاطف ويا المستهدفين اللي راح يستخدمون هذا الآب. هل أني راح أفتهم frustrations مالتهم, what they need, what they want, what are they in touch with? What is it that they actually like? How are they going to navigate it? هذا كله من ضمن emotions. But it's not like emotions on the ابكي or the أضحك. Emotions like frustration, like needs, things that I'm not expressing, desires. And this is in an app. It's very important. People spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars for apps. يفشل because you don't even give a shit about the customer, you know? They just think if I put one button next to another, he will figure it out. No, Habibi. Then why, when you use a really good app, it feels like you're not even using the app at all? Do you think that's by accident? This is the emotion that's connected to the business, right? So when I realized that this man, the CEO, could not and did not want to do that part, I realized that they're not our client. I can't work with somebody who just wants to design. So there's no emotional intelligence here. And if you are paying for really good design, you have to have emotional intelligence to understand yani, how colors make people psychologically think about you, what associations are done by خط, how negative space affects your viewer, how the pacing of something happens, how the UX, and all of these things, before you say a word, have subconsciously, emotionally spoken to your customer. And you either lost them or you have to spend more money to speak to them again. So that's the emotional part. It's not like the laughing and crying. It's connected to your business. And when men here start to realize that, then they can work with us and become our clients. But for now, women get this more than men in this بيئة.
ناخذ بريك قصير
Yes, sure.
ونرجع. خديجة، إذا نحكي شوية على المنافسة بعالم التصميم بعالم تصميم الهوية البصرية. بالعراق احنا بسبب الحرب صار عندنا انقطاع مع العالم الخارجي، عندنا سنين حصار، عندنا سنين حروب طائفية. فما كان اكو هذا التركيز على الهوية البصرية، على الجرافيك ديزاين بالعالم، بالمنطقة بشكل عام. دائما من نريد نسوي هوية بصرية أو نسوي شيء براندنج، دائما نلجأ للمصمم اللبناني أو المصمم السوري أو المصري، لأنه صار لهم فترة يشتغلون بهذا المجال، عندهم اطلاع، عندهم تواصل مع العالم الخارجي. شو تحسين هذا التنافس ما بين إنه العراق هسه دا يدخل على هذا العالم، ما بين كل التغيرات اللي موجودة؟ حتى فحوم يريد يعرف الجواب.
Yeah, my pleasure. From what I've seen, إنه لما أسافر خاصة for design، العالم العربي دا ينتظر المصمم العراقي، المصممات العراقيات يطلعون يعني بصورة عامة. They're excited to يختلطون وياهم، يحجون وياهم، to have ideas, to be a part of the conversation. بالعكس, I think بغداد كمدينة، العراق كتراث, people are waiting for us to come back online and to interact. We are ready to interact with others. And I think before we talk about munafasa, we want to talk about like introductions, and really we're still at the coming up point. بالنسبة إلي, and we have some superstars already here making a big name, like some of the agencies and some of the, خطاطين عراقيين never got out of style. Still number one, still up there, still like one of ours. A lot of them come from Iraq, and this never went away, actually. So it's really a reintroduction, I think, in these next few years. And that has to do a lot with these like design conferences, accessibility, people traveling, people coming, people going. So I'm ready to see a lot more of that happening. So I wouldn't start talking about munafasa, whereas like we're still being reintroduced from my point of view. Probably other designers would differentiate. You know, a lot of designers are doing a lot of Iraqi designers are doing a lot of cool things. We have a lot of agencies that are like Baghdad, Dubai. Uh, we have a lot of Iraqi diaspora designers. But from Iraq to the world, I think we're still in that reintroduction mode. It would be really cool if we had like a design conference based in Baghdad and we invited creatives from the عالم العربي to come. That would be
إحنا يعني as long as we're approaching the end of this beautiful episode, يعني نريد نستفاد من from your wisdom for the people who are listening. What do you advise or want to share with people who are like basically like you but in Iraq؟ يعني مثلا هنا الناس اللي دي يبلشون بالمجال التصميم والإبداع والفنون أو اللي مبلشين أصلا أو اللي دي يريدون in the middle of the way. شنو الأشياء اللي واجهتيها تعلمتي من عندها إنه ممكن تكون ستاندرد لأي شخص يسمع ممكن يستفاد، خصوصا إنه إحنا مثل ما قلتي إحنا the world is waiting for us to be online and then and spread the image of our beautiful country. شنو what do you advise? What do you advise a designer right now who is designing and want to be creative? أنتِ أصلاً كنتِ involved in courses here, basically giving that knowledge. بس what is, let's say, the ultimate wisdom that you want to give to first the people who wants to work in this sector? وسكند الناس اللي مثل ما قبل شوي حكيت لنا قصة، يعني كانت السي اي او اللي دا يسوي الابلكيشن، الناس اللي تطلب خدمة الإبداع واللي تحتاج الإبداع، سواء كان بزنس سواء كان ايجنسي أو أي نوع من أنواع المؤسسات. هذول شنو تنطيهم wisdom، وهذول شنو تنطيهم wisdom يتعاملون مع الناس اللي المصممين؟ لأنه نفس الأفكار هنا أحس أغلب الناس حتى من نحاول ندور على الإبداع ما نلقاه بسهولة، مو موجود هيجي accessible لعدة أسباب. بس what do you want to share, let's say, with these two people who are listening?
first and foremost, never stop teaching yourself. I'm not talking about technical things. I'm talking about soft skills, empathy. Read a lot of culture, books, movies, films. Get yourself out of the digital space. الإبداع موجود كل مكان بكل زمن كل وقت. يعني أعطي نفسك. This is the discipline I think we're talking about, and I think as artists we are taught this at a very, يعني I was taught this at a very young age. بس يعني the way you approach your creativity is the way you approach everything in life, you know? So هو موجود. Continue to look for it, continue to do it. Build your library, build your personal library. Don't rely on everything digital, but use AI. Second thing I would say is give yourself permission. خاصة, and I'm speaking to, I wouldn't say البنات بالذات. I don't like to do this بنات ولد thing, but I will say that for our مجتمع, and there's a reason for it. بس همينة anybody that's listening that has, احنا جايين من مجتمع, we wait for permission. We wait for permission to speak, to think, to ندرس, to هذا. فلما تكبر and you realize that you have all of the freedom to do whatever you want, give yourself permission to propose the weird idea, to design the weird thing that you want to design, to تغلس على a project you don't want to work with, and give yourself permission to do all these things, and give yourself permission to be creative and have the outcome be ugly. That's okay. That's actually a very big part of being a designer. But growth is very important. Consistency is important, and like being true to yourself. I know it sounds very American.
بس بصحة الشيء اللي تحكيه ومهم.
Yeah, it's very important to be true to yourself in a world of influencers and things being generated to be fake, which you can sit there and be like, oh, AI is bad. No, AI is the future. You got to learn how to use it. But if you're true to yourself and you realize that these are just tools And your brain is the most important thing. And your references, your library, I'm not talking about just books, like your experiences, your knowledge, yani everything that you have lived in your life is part of your resources. Give yourself permission to use that all the time. And this is my advice to you in a very like abstract, wise way. بس خطية والله the creative scene needs a lot more infrastructure. I have wanted to build a program for so long to do like a 3-month boot camp because I feel like you can do all these things, but you need a community and a group of people to do that with, and you need guidance. That's infrastructure. So maybe one day, inshallah.
وبالنسبة للجزء الآخر كان السؤال نصيحتك للكلاينت أو للزبائن اللي يردون creative assistant أو مساعدة إبداعية سواء بخصوص strategy, thought leadership,
how to look for a good creative. Our demand usually here is always something that's been done, you know. If I'm doing something, if I wanna design,
So
usually people here look for
it's always make it
which is
exactly
fine,
like
but
this. It's terrible.
yes.
It's you are wasting money for your business. I mean, if you don't understand how business works, really, you should not be in business. When somebody comes and says, I want the exact same, it's like, oh, do you not know about competition, competitiveness? So my advice would be look for a designer or creative that understands your audience that you're trying to talk to. That should be the first question that any designer asks you. That's our first question. Who are you trying to talk to? It should not be about how good you want to look, how whatever. No. It's all about who you're trying to talk to, getting very specific. And so that designer should know something about target audience, مستهدفين, target audience research, and all of their work should come from that first point there. And you should always want to be different than your competitors. Please.
أكو جزئية ذكرتيها بالجواب بس شوي أحب أوقف يمها موضوع الذكاء الاصطناعي. بهذا العالم اللي هسه الذكاء الاصطناعي مسيطر على الهواية من مفاصله. شلون ممكن تقنعين رواد الأعمال إنه أنت لازلت بحاجة لخديجة أو للشخص للإبداع الإنساني ومو هي مجرد أنت تنطي prompt أو أمر إلى الذكاء الاصطناعي أو إلى أي مزود لخدمة الذكاء الاصطناعي أخلق لي هوية بصرية. وين يعني شلون نقدر نقنع إنه إحنا لا لازلنا بحاجة للإبداع الإنساني؟
ما لازم نقنعه، هو راح يشوف إنه it's there's 2 ways this can go. لو they will stay in a loop. يسوون ما مقتنعين بشي، يجيهم فد شي weird. Like حتى احنا we use AI in our work, but you have to A, know what to ask it, and B, then you have to عدل, which is the first part and the second part of what we do anyway. I think AI takes a lot of the repetitive work out. So you can go that way, which people have done, and they come to us any frazzled, they don't know what to do anymore. Actually, what AI does, I think it renders you, when you're into something you don't really understand, it renders you into hysteria almost. It makes you like deep into like these circles that you don't necessarily understand. And you're even deeper in a problem than you were before. So that's one way. ما يحتاج أقتنع anybody, they'll just realize. And if they're okay with what AI has, great. They don't need to come to us because they can't afford us. The second way is that they get the هوية بصرية and they're fine with it, and it's generic and it works fine. And, you know, they don't really make the profits that they were trying to make. They don't really talk to the people that they were trying to talk to. They don't look any different from their competitors. They struggle. They have no idea what the problem is, and they think it's all because of their logo or whatever, which is also fine. لأنه if you're a business and you don't realize the strength of your business comes from your strategy, then really you shouldn't be in business. So in terms of AI, I don't think it's going to make our job harder to cry, be like, hire us. Actually, it'll be much easier for us to be like, I've already had a few clients that are like, oh my God, like I can't understand. And I take whatever they've researched and what I do is I clean up the extra. And it's just what we do as designers, awesome. We sift through information and we're like, هذا الجذر. Let's focus on this. Okay, what are your business goals for the next 6 months to 1 year? هذا, okay, let's focus on this. Who are your مستهدفين? دولة أعمارهم. وين عايشين? شنو اللغة اللي يحجون? We get very specific and then we make all these decisions based on how clear we get on the strategy. And AI is not that easy to work with when you don't know what you're asking it. If anything, it's like Shahrazad and will continue to tell you a story until you die. So
شنو مشروع اشتغلتي عليه كلش فخورة بيه؟ أنا أحب مشروع هربولوجي اللي اشتغلتي عليه.
that was a really cool project. Yeah.
بس أكو مشروع محدد اشتغلتي عليه وتحسين إنه الأقرب على قلبك؟
So herbology was really cool. Unfortunately, also it wasn't متنفذ in the time that it came out. It's like on pause still. But herbology was really fun. But my favorite that's not on the website, I think it's in our, I think I sent you the About Us. There's this one project that we worked on. It was a very small, so we worked for the Kurdish Center for Arts and Culture. We did a
في أربيل المركز؟
yeah, so KCAC is based in Erbil and they had art exhibition or an exhibition called Being Lost, where they were going to do sound and photography about the المهاجرين اللي كانوا they like basically they leave to Europe and the photographs show what their families like leave behind. So they asked us to like do الهوية بصرية for their exhibition. They're like, it's going to be really small. طبعا احنا small or big, we get very, very into it. And the reason why I love this هوية that we worked on is because we realized that the main emotion was this kind of like melancholy or sadness. It's like of people leaving and having a member of your family like missing and you don't hear from them or anything. So there's this like sadness, this hazan. So we use black and white only. And then what we did, usually in bilingual design, what people traditionally do is they take a font and they make sure they find this like sister font, right? And the fonts like work together nicely. And for this one, we're like, no, actually, we want the English font to be one way. We want the Kurdish font to be another way. Because ما لهم علاقة with each other. Like, they don't have any significance in being harmonized together. So the Kurdish font was hand-drawn by one of our designers who's now working at KCAC. Her name is Hala. She did it by hand. And it's extended like these like long waves of silence. And then the English font is like a VHS font from the VHS and like also the photos that the people would leave behind. So the photos that people left behind. I'll send you that. And I think it's a small project, but it's a really beautiful way of showcasing kind of where we have gotten also in as a studio of being like really refined in how we think about languages, culture, exhibition, and how we're able to express that visually. So I would say that is something very near and dear to my heart.
كلش حابين نشوفه وحتى نحطه كجزء من الحلقة. احنا بدنا نسجل يوم 30/12/2025 يوم السبت. احنا شو وقت بدنا نسجل الحلقة؟ راح تطلع غالبا بوقت الربيع. مشاريع خديجة بال2026. كل عام وانت بخير، ان شاء الله سنة تكون سنة سعيدة. بس شنو المستقبل القريب الخديجة؟ شنو مشاريعكم؟
صراحة أنا this rebrand and I want to make branding accessible to business women that are like, they can't afford like our big packages. So I'm trying to make it more accessible to afford our services, especially for bilingual branding. So هذا المشروع that we're working on حاليا. طبعا we have we're still working on cultural consulting projects. So مرات we work with like Egypt, Dubai, Saudi to consult on different cultural identities, cultural projects. Well, I really hope we work on I really hope to get into our portfolio a magazine or a museum brand, خاصة العراق. We don't actually have a lot of Iraqi clients. A lot of our clients are international. So I hope this makes it to 2026, inshallah. my my hopes and dreams.
خديجة شكرا جزيلا على الوقت. طولنا هواي عليك اليوم. طبعا تقدرون تتواصلون ويا استوديو يا خديجة. الويب سايت موجود والانستغرام هاندل. تابعونا، احنا موجودين. لا تقدروا تسمعون هذا البودكاست على بودكاست ابلكيشن وسبوتيفاي، وتشوفوه على قناة اليوتيوب. خديجة شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا لك. Thank you so
ونشوفكم على
much.
خير.
إن شاء الله.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me. عشت الأيادي.
Thank you.